Kawhi Leonard is an NBA superstar who signed a $176 million contract with the Clippers.
Breaking news into CBS Sports HQ, Kawhi Leonard has signed a 4-year contract extension with the Los Angeles Clippers worth $176 million, according to The Athletic.
By the time his career ends, he will have earned well over $300 million in salary alone. He is the definition of set for life. Yet when he negotiated a major endorsement deal with the fried chicken chain Wingstop in 2016, he almost suffered a panic attack after losing something incredibly important: a coupon booklet for free chicken wings. It sounds like a joke, but the story is real. Wingstop sent him a book of coupons for complimentary chicken, and Kawhi, the notoriously quiet and serious superstar, panicked when he misplaced it. The man who drives a 1997 Chevrolet Tahoe, which he proudly calls the gas guzzler because it runs and is already paid off, was genuinely distressed by the thought of having to pay for a 10-piece bone-in combo. This is the untold story of the world's richest people who live like they are broke. They are the billionaires, the movie stars, the rock legends, and the professional athletes who prove that a massive bank account doesn't always translate to lavish living. It's the story of Christian Bale driving a 20-year-old Toyota Tacoma and the founder of IKEA Flying Economy because, well, why not?
Christian Bale drives around in a 2003 Toyota Tacoma. Christian Bale's worth like $150 million. That's what he drives around in. 2003 Toyota Tacoma. That's what he drives.
What's the emotional thing about it? Do you think there's a connection there with Christian?
He says it's good. It's a good car.
When you think of a billionaire, you think of a $500 million super yacht, a private island in the Caribbean, or maybe a garage full of Bugattis. The image is one of excess, of opulence, a life disconnected from the grocery store checkout line or the pain of a high gas price. But there is a specific breed of hyper-wealthy individual who actively rejects the trappings of their fortune. They are the ones who can buy a private jet, but opt for a commercial flight. They can hire a personal chef, but still argue over the cable bill. They are the inverse of the flashy, diamond-encrusted elite, and in many ways, their frugality is even more fascinating than their success. For them, wealth is simply a tool, not a lifestyle mandate. Our first stop is Hollywood, where the difference between an A-list salary and an A-list lifestyle can be shocking. Take Christian Bale. He made millions playing Bruce Wayne, a man whose wealth and opulent manner is a core part of his character. Yet Bale's daily reality is the antithesis of the Dark Knight. Bale's daily driver, his reliable chariot of choice for over 2 decades, is a second-hand 2003 Toyota Tacoma. This is not a car purchased ironically or a stunt for a magazine. Bale has been repeatedly photographed with this simple, reliable pickup truck, preferring it for its low-maintenance nature and practicality. When he was once offered a luxury villa on the set of the movie Public Enemies, the director later recounted that Bale simply refused it, preferring an ordinary room. Why? He once stated that if a robber ever broke into his house, he would burst into tears, and it wouldn't be worth stealing his car either. He wants to be normal. His reasoning is simple. He stated he doesn't have an assistant, he doesn't drive a flashy car, and he enjoys doing everything himself, from going to the supermarket to the hardware store. He fears that if he let celebrity culture envelop him, he would start to feel like a prisoner. This need for genuine connection explains a recent move. He's reportedly spending $22 million to build 12 homes in Los Angeles, which will be donated to a foster care charity. His wealth is used for impact, not for indulgence. Then there is Leonardo DiCaprio. With a net worth north of $300 million, the star of Titanic and The Wolf of Wall Street is often cited as a prime example of the humble celebrity. His daily driver? A Toyota Prius. In fact, he liked the fuel-efficient hybrid so much he bought 3 others. One for his mother, one for his father, and one for his stepmother. And while he does own multiple properties, he prefers to avoid the unnecessary emissions of private jets, often being spotted trying to travel incognito on commercial flights. When his friend David Deal met him at his Hollywood house, he described Leo as surprisingly normal, recounting a moment where the Oscar winner had to chase his dog down the street like any average guy. For DiCaprio, a simple, low-impact lifestyle isn't just about saving money, it's tied to his deeply held environmental principles. The frugality becomes a philosophical statement. And finally, there's the beloved actress Kristen Bell, who proves that even America's sweetheart still loves a good deal. Bell, with a net worth of over $20 million, married her husband Dax Shepard in 2013 in a simple ceremony at the Beverly Hills courthouse. The total cost of the wedding? Just $142. They spent their money on what mattered: a tank of gas, the marriage license, and 2 friends as witnesses. Bell is also an enthusiastic coupon clipper, admitting she almost exclusively shops with them. She once famously wore a $45 dress from Target to a major red carpet event. Her view is simple: why spend more when you don't have to? For her, the price tag is entirely disconnected from her self-worth or her success. The music world is often defined by excess, smashing guitars, hotel room destruction, and private jets named after albums. But some of the biggest names reject this chaotic consumption. Dave Grohl, the Foo Fighters frontman and former Nirvana drummer, is estimated to be worth over $320 million. When asked how he manages his massive fortune, he deadpanned that it goes straight into my bank account where it turns all moldy and smelly. Grohl's simple tastes are almost legendary. The very first purchase he ever made with his first credit card? An extravagant dinner at a Japanese steakhouse chain called Benihana. When it comes to cars, he drives a practical family car that fits 5 people, admitting that his previous Tesla felt too fancy and impractical, a concept few of his peers would ever worry about. He eventually sold a large holiday home and keeps one Los Angeles property, which he describes as just big enough. For Grohl, the motivation is deeper than just preference. He once told a story about his mother having a stroke while filing taxes, which instilled in him a desire to keep his finances and life as simple as possible. "I'm not a banker," he says. "I'm a musician. Let's make it about the music." The modern equivalent of this attitude is Ed Sheeran. The pop superstar made over $775 million from his 2023 tour alone. Yet, when asked about his bank, he revealed he still uses his old Barclays student account. Sheeran admits he gives himself a modest weekly allowance, around $1,000, because if he had all his money in one account, he would spend all of it. He avoids lavish holidays because, as a redhead, he can't think of anything less relaxing than sitting getting burned in the sun. Instead, he lives with his wife in his English country hometown, working regular 9 to 5 hours, inspired by the discipline of artists like Eminem. This commitment to normalcy anchors him, turning his fortune into a regulated stipend rather than a temptation for excess. But perhaps the most extreme case of a celebrity who is forced to spend money is supermodel and TV icon Tyra Banks. With a net worth of around $90 million, the America's Next Top Model creator has famously referred to herself as cheap. She still brings her own snacks and drinks to work, saves the tiny soap and shampoo bottles from 5-star hotels, and once opted for a fresh coat of paint instead of new carpet for her offices to save money. Banks was a dedicated saver from a young age, buying her first house in Los Angeles at age 20, while other models were spending on designer clothes. She saved so aggressively and refused to splurge that her accountants staged an intervention. They set her up with a dedicated frivolous account and an annual budget for stupid stuff she had to spend, or else the money would just be lost to taxes. She needed a budget not to stop spending, but to force her to indulge. When your team has to beg you to buy some frivolous luxury, you have reached a new level of frugal. The world of Silicon Valley has its share of extravagant billionaires, but a few of the most powerful people on the planet adopt a minimalist lifestyle, not for saving money, but for saving mental energy. Mark Zuckerberg, the 4th richest person on Earth with a net worth of over $170 billion, is the prime example. Zuckerberg is famous for wearing the exact same outfit every day: a gray t-shirt, a hoodie, and jeans. This isn't a fashion statement. It's a productivity hack known as decision fatigue. Psychologists have proven that humans have a finite amount of mental energy for making choices each day. By eliminating trivial daily decisions like what to wear, Zuckerberg conserves his cognitive resources for the only decisions that matter: how to run Facebook and Meta. He once explained, "I really want to clear my life so that I have to make as few decisions as possible, other than how to best serve this community." When it comes to cars, Zuckerberg keeps it surprisingly modest, driving an Acura TSX and a Honda Fit. While he has indulged in a Pagani Huayra worth $4 million, his daily choices are safe, comfortable, and most importantly, not ostentatious. As one friend described him, he is the poorest rich person I've ever seen in my life. His entire lifestyle is engineered for efficiency, not enjoyment, a fascinating, if slightly robotic, approach to extreme wealth. No discussion of frugal billionaires is complete without Ingvar Kamprad, the founder of IKEA. His story is perhaps the most extreme example of principled frugality. Kamprad, who was worth an estimated $58.7 billion at the time of his death in 2018, embodied the thriftiness of Småland, the region of Sweden where he grew up. His notorious habits included recycling tea bags, pocketing salt and pepper packets from restaurants, and purchasing Christmas paper in post-Christmas sales. His signature vehicle for 2 decades was a 1993 Volvo 240, which he only sold because he was convinced it was too dangerous to drive. But his frugality extended beyond his personal life. It was a core pillar of the IKEA brand. Kamprad was committed to flying economy class, a principle he saw as vital to leadership. He famously asked, "How the hell can I ask people who work for me to travel cheaply if I'm traveling in luxury?" It's a question of good leadership. He even made international news for getting his haircut when traveling in developing countries where the price was cheapest. By living a life where cost saving was an active daily discipline, he modeled the very value proposition, affordability, that made his company a global powerhouse. His simple life wasn't just a quirk, it was an extension of his multi-billion-dollar business model. Finally, we have the celebrities whose wealth never managed to change their core personality. Adam Sandler, with a net worth approaching $500 million, is a walking meme of anti-fashion. He favors oversized clothes, untied sneakers, and what has been affectionately dubbed the fresh from the hamper look. The man wears sweatpants and basketball jerseys everywhere, even to movie premieres. The most telling stories about Sandler are his everyday encounters. In 2021, he was spotted at an IHOP with his daughter. When the host told him there would be a 20-minute wait, Sandler, politely and without complaint, simply said they were hungry and left.
Who's behind the mask?
That's superstar Adam Sandler at an IHOP being told he'll have to wait 30 minutes to be seated, just like the rest of us.
So, that just proves a point that you never know who might come into IHOP.
The host later realized who she had just turned away and took to social media, but Sandler, a man who could have bought the entire franchise, didn't use his fame to jump the queue. He just acted like a normal, hungry person whose time was valuable. He prefers shooting basketball at random courts with strangers, living a life of approachable, low-key simplicity that is utterly disconnected from the private, guarded lives of other stars. Similarly, Jennifer Lawrence has maintained the habits instilled by her middle-class upbringing. Despite becoming one of the highest-paid actresses in the world, she resisted the urge to splurge. For years after The Hunger Games launched her into the stratosphere, she lived in the same pre-fame 3-bedroom Los Angeles townhouse. She once drove a humble Volkswagen EOS and eventually upgraded to an equally modest Chevy Volt. Like Kamprad, she admits she still clips coupons and looks for bargains when she goes to the market, saying, "I was raised to have value for money, to have respect for money, even though you have a lot of it." Her respect for money was so profound that her accountants reportedly had to set her up a separate, frivolous account and budget for her to spend money on stupid stuff. The woman who gets paid $15 million per film needs to be forced to spend money on frivolous luxury. What these unique individuals prove is that financial success does not have to be a one-way ticket to excess. For many, wealth is simply a safety net, an ability to say no to the tedious obligations of celebrity, or a means to fund a quiet, uncomplicated life. Whether it's the pursuit of mental clarity like Zuckerberg, the desire to stay grounded like Grohl and Sandler, or the commitment to a belief system like DiCaprio and Camprad, their frugality is more than just cheapness. It's a philosophical stance. They understand that happiness is not bought in bulk. And for the rest of us, who are constantly told that success means showing off, these stories offer a powerful counter-narrative. Sometimes, the greatest luxury of all is the simple freedom of not having to care what anyone thinks.